Indonesia, formerly the Republic of Indonesia, is home to more than 273.8 million people. It is situated between the Pacific and Indian Oceans in Southeast Asia and Oceania, with more than 17,000 islands, including Sumatra, Java, Sulawesi, and portions of Borneo and New Guinea. It is an archipelagic state, expanding approximately 735,358 square miles, is the largest archipelagic state in the world and the 14th largest country in terms of area. Banda Aceh, the capital city of Aceh, is an autonomous province in Indonesia. The city is located on the coast near the northwestern tip of Sumatra Island. Banda Aceh is known as the doorway to Mecca, for historically it has been a stopping place for Muslim pilgrims journeying by ship from east to Mecca. It has been recorded that the city has been visited by Marco Polo, an Italian explorer, in 1292, and Ibn Battuta, a Muslim explorer and writer, in the 1340s. The history of the city included naval battles between the Portuguese and the Achenese War between the Dutch and the Achenese. The city was occupied by the Dutch from 1873 to 1903 when the Achenese War ended. In 1959, Aceh was incorporated into Indonesia as an autonomous province. On December 26, 2004, Banda Aceh experienced one of the most catastrophic natural disasters in recorded history. Due to its location, Banda Aceh became the unfortunate focal point of a seismic event registering 9.1 on the Richter scale. This undersea earthquake struck off the western coast of northern Sumatra, approximately 250 kilometers south to the southwest of Banda Aceh. As a result, colossal tsunamis, with waves soaring up to 100 feet, surged over coastal areas, leaving a trail of widespread destruction in their wake. Among the numerous nations spanning the Indian Ocean basin, Banda Aceh, being the nearest major city to the earthquake's epicenter, faced the full force of this calamity. The sea dramatically receded, laying bare the seabed, followed by three formidable waves that wreaked havoc. The initial wave, with a gentle rise to building foundations, was succeeded by a sudden sea withdrawal near the port of Ulelue. Subsequent waves, exceeding the height of coconut trees, proved to be highly destructive. The aftermath of this devastating event manifested in the significant loss of life and infrastructure. It prompted global introspection regarding the vulnerabilities of coastal regions, emphasizing the crucial need for robust disaster preparedness. Banda Aceh had a population of approximately 219,000 people before the tsunami. This figure serves as a baseline for understanding the demographic landscape before the significant events unfolded. The population in Aceh was overwhelmingly Muslim, with a 98.7% adhering to Islam. This religious composition highlights the dominant faith within the community and its potential influence on the various aspects of life, including cultural practices and social norms. Despite the strong religious unity, the Aceh province is ethnically diverse. Key ethnic groups such as the Athnis, Guyanese, Alas, and Tamiang are noted as the main ones of the region. In addition to the main ethnic groups, there are ethnic minorities such as the Chinese, who are predominantly Buddhist or Christian. The province of Aceh has a history of grappling with economic challenges. In 2004, 28.5% of the population of the province lived below the poverty line, marking a poverty rate twice as high as Indonesia's average. Historically, Aceh has depended on rural farming and agriculture as its primary economic activities to sustain the livelihoods of its residents. Urban areas, including Banda Aceh, witnessed a shift in employment towards the sales and service industry. Oil was discovered in the province of Aceh in 1970. At its peak, Aceh's oil accounted for 80% of exports, resulting in a GDP almost triple the Indonesian average. The oil boom prompted a shift in employment towards oil operations and the service industry. Despite the economic boom, citizens received minimal to no benefits from the oil wealth. During the New Order regime, a centralized government through PT Pertamina, an Indonesian state-owned oil and natural gas corporation, held a monopoly on oil, accumulating wealth without any significant redistribution to Aceh. Only 5% of the revenue gained from the oil was sent back to the province of Aceh by the New Order regime. Despite the significant oil wealth, Aceh remained one of the provinces with the highest poverty rates in Indonesia. Economic hardships faced by the Aceh's residents, coupled with the limited benefits from oil, eventually led to the political repercussions and destabilization in the province. Aceh experienced significant political turmoil and conflict before the 2004 earthquake and tsunami. Driven in part by prolonged economic imbalances that left the province's people struggling economically and socially. Historically, Aceh played a significant role in Indonesia's fight for independence from the Netherlands, gaining autonomy in 1949 but later being incorporated into North Sumatra, leading to the First Aceh Rebellion. Aceh was reinstated as an autonomous region in 1959, yet continued to face economic inequalities imposed by the Indonesian government. This sparked the formation of the Free Aceh Movement, GAM, in 1976. The GAM intensified economic hardships, causing poverty levels to nearly double from 1999 to 2002, contributing to the significant regional imbalances. The conflict resulted in an estimated death toll of 15,000 to 20,000 people, mainly concentrated in rural areas of Aceh, with Banda Aceh relatively isolated from much of the violence. The New Order regime control over Banda Aceh was maintained through the propaganda and centralized media sources, limiting residents' awareness of the conflict's extent in rural areas. Democratization in 1998 eroded the New Order's regime's control in Banda Aceh, leading to the rise of a politically active civil society, with citizens mobilizing and using the city's platform for protests. Despite the government's crackdowns, stronger networks formed between the urban and rural political separatists after the fall of the New Order regime, contributing to the civil society's rise in Banda Aceh. Banda Aceh's location in a seismically active tectonic region in Southeast Asia makes it prone to earthquakes, and Indonesia's presence near four major tectonic plates increases the risk of earthquakes and tsunamis along the Indian Ocean side. The last tsunami in Aceh occurred 600 years ago, so residents were unprepared and lacked the necessary knowledge to mitigate risks, exacerbated by the absence of community-based early warning systems. Banda Aceh's vulnerable infrastructure, characterized by the older unmaintained buildings, were not constructed to withstand a tsunami. High-density areas with low-quality infrastructure became the most vulnerable sections of the city. The combination of environmental factors like climate change and social factors like poverty increased vulnerability, contributing to the heightened devastation caused by the earthquake and the tsunami. Also, high poverty rates in Banda Aceh made residents highly dependent on coastal resources for economic well-being and food, leading to the increased vulnerability when coupled with the depletion of those resources. The 2004 Indian Ocean earthquake and tsunami unleashed widespread destruction, causing unprecedented devastation. The earthquake, ranked as the third largest globally since 1900 with a magnitude of 9.1, triggered a tsunami that wreaked havoc along an 800-mile rupture beneath the ocean floor. This catastrophe not only profoundly affected Banda Aceh, but also left a lasting impact on 14 countries total, reaching speeds of 500 miles per hour. In Banda Aceh, waves exceeding 100 feet struck the densely populated city, resulting in over 61,000 fatalities and leaving 25% of the population in ruins. The earthquake's release of energy, equivalent of 23,000 Hiroshima atomic bombs, solidified its status as the deadliest natural disaster in the 21st century and the most powerful earthquake recorded in Asia. The disaster in Banda Aceh serves as an example of how natural disasters can impact pre-existing social and political landscapes of a country. The tsunami that hit the Aceh province had political implications that altered the dynamics of the long-standing conflict between the Free Aceh movement and the Indonesian military. The occurrence of the natural disaster expedited peace initiatives, and in just 1 month after the disaster, officials from both parties engaged in peace negotiations. Immediately after the tsunami, the government of Indonesia facilitated assistance from international military personnel from Asian, European, and American countries. A total of 600 organizations comprising of NGOs, civil society, and UN entities actively engaged in disaster response and recovery efforts. World Vision played a crucial role by raising over $350 million for recovery and leading various initiatives in Indonesia, which encompassed constructing 12,000 homes, establishing 200 child-friendly spaces, building 84 schools, creating 60 playgrounds, and setting up 27 health clinics. In terms of immediate response and support, entities like the Canadian Red Cross, UN agencies, IFRC, and National Red Cross focus on providing shelter, water, sanitization, livelihoods, health, and disaster preparedness. Additionally, UNICEF prioritized delivering clean drinking water and preventing diseases among affected children and families. The Australian government committed significant funds to the disaster recovery, while the World Bank provided millions in loans for Indonesia's Disaster Resilience Initiatives project. Following the devastating tsunami in Banda Aceh, tourism efforts focused on transforming remnants of the disaster into memorial parks. One notable example is the creation of the tourist attraction in the town center featuring the Apung 1, a 3-story tall ship stranded by the tsunami. The ship, originally a 2,600-ton floating diesel fuel electric generator barge, was dragged 5 kilometers inland in 2004. This site has become a memorial park adorned with souvenir stores and flower beds. In terms of proactive resilience, initially there was a plan to divide the city into multiple zones, designating areas closest to the shoreline as buffer zones. Despite economic ties and cultural significance, residents who chose to stay in these zones faced relocation. Recognizing the socioeconomic impact, some residents chose to relocate inland to ensure safety from future tsunamis. This, however, did lead to economic disparities between low-income families near the coast and higher-income families inland. As you can see on the right, a new evacuation plan was established. The new road network, including escape routes, was designed to expedite evacuation, particularly for vulnerable areas near the shoreline. While addressing immediate needs, the plan emphasized long-term resilience against future tsunamis. The road, however, did not address all concerns. For example, the escape routes do not extend far enough beyond the previously flooded area, and the national road, which also intended to aid evacuation, runs parallel to the shoreline, which is not the optimal direction for escaping a tsunami. Proactive regulations for disaster management and the implementation of tsunami mitigation technologies, such as warning systems, aim to enhance preparedness. Despite challenges in a developing country context, these measures underscored a commitment to leveraging available technology for resilience. Ongoing research, simulations, and community assessments contributed to maintaining a good level of community preparedness. Initiatives included regular evacuation drills, raising awareness, and improving emergency protocols. Coastal zone management plans included the construction of tsunami shelters in vulnerable areas. World Vision also planted 56,000 mangrove trees as natural barriers against the high ocean levels. Additionally, the enactment of Law No. 24/2007 concerning disaster management marked a significant shift, indicating a proactive transformation in the disaster management paradigm in Indonesia. This legal framework aimed to enhance the country's capacity to respond more effectively to future disaster events. In conclusion, the 2004 earthquake-induced tsunami inflicted profound devastation on Banda Aceh, exacerbating pre-existing vulnerabilities stemming from economic challenges and historical conflicts. The disaster significantly compromised infrastructure and economic systems. Despite the massive destruction, subsequent resilience and reconstruction initiatives demonstrated effectiveness, although ongoing improvements are still necessary. Challenges persist in the unchanged road networks and transportation conditions, posing vulnerabilities in the face of potential future disasters. Nevertheless, long-term proactive strategies such as enhanced emergency preparedness, coastal zone management, and widespread citizen education have been implemented to safeguard against large-scale unpreparedness and minimize the impact of the people of Banda Aceh.